Hello everyone, I'm Triple J and welcome to Brain Food at the Movies, where today I review the Guardians of the Galaxy, aka the best Indiana Jones movie set in the Star Wars universe ever.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize.
Alright, first off, before we do anything else, there are going to be spoilers here. So, if you don't want to know what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy, stop here right now. Alright, Guardians of the Galaxy, yet another installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And once again, it blows literally anything that DC and Warner Brothers could possibly come up with. In fact, Captain America 3 blew it out of the water, and it's not even out. Just for a little bit of a side note, Marvel and DC were sharing the same date of May 6, 2015 for the release of both Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice and Captain America 3, and Warner Brothers backed down, releasing it in March earlier that year. Makes you wonder just how weak their script is. So, on to Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a great, fantastic, fun movie. I said it jokingly before at the beginning that it was like Indiana Jones, the best Indiana Jones movie set in the Star Wars universe, and I'm honestly not kidding. There are elements of Indiana Jones and Star Wars in this movie that are actually better than the last few Indiana Jones and Star Wars movies combined. We have the classic trope, well, I guess made classic by the Indiana Jones movies themselves, of a good person trying to keep an ancient relic out of the hands of a bad person and then doing their best to stop him. In this case, it's first Peter Quill, along with the other Guardians of the Galaxy, trying to stop Ronan the Destroyer? I think it's Ronan the Judge. I'll have to double check that. Trying to stop Ronan the Judge from using it on the planet headquarters of the Nova Corps. This movie has taken some really good lessons from the first Blade movie, which is we have a blink and you miss it origin story wherein we see Peter Quill as a young boy after he lost his mother to cancer being teleported away. And then boom, we move 28 years later to when he's older. And we're instantly, boom, right to the action. Same thing with Blade. A blink and you miss it origin. 5 minutes later, boom, lots of action. Very good, keep this up. In other news, Marvel said that they are doing away with origin movies, which is a very good thing. We've had enough origin movies, and if you can do this with the same impact that you did with Blade and Guardians of the Galaxy, you can do it with any other character. Keep that up. Another good lesson learned from previous movies was the Avengers, in which everyone in this movie, all the good guys, they get some great, fantastic, really powerful emotional moments, as well as showing off just how kick-ass they are. Gamora gets to show off just how she's a badass, hand-to-hand combatant and daughter of Thanos. Peter Quill is very funny, lots of quips. Shows he's actually pretty smart and a good on-his-feet kind of thinker. Drax kicks some ass, Groot kicks some ass, and Rocket Raccoon kicks some ass. There is a lot of humor here. Like, the one good thing that I can say about any Marvel movie is that at its least, it has a lot of funny jokes in it. As much as, say, the weaker movies, such as Thor and Iron Man 2 are, they're funny. And at least you come out of it thinking, hey, I had a good time. Same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Lots of fun here. Now, while I am annoyed at Marvel at having yet another movie where the lead is a white guy, I mean, seriously, even the actor's name is Chris. We've had Thor, Chris Hemsworth. Captain America, Chris Evans, and now Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt. All white, all first names of Chris. I mean, is this some kind of inside joke? I don't know. But the one thing I did like about this movie is that it actually shows black people. Now, they're in the background, but it reminded me of Russell T Davies and what he did with Doctor Who. We see black people all over this vast galaxy that Guardians of the Galaxy painted. We see them as normal, everyday citizens. We see them as honorable, noble members of the Nova Corps. And yes, we do see them as criminals. So we see all different aspects of this. And I think that's great, as compared to Man of Steel, which had a whole bunch of white supermen. Kind of disturbing when you really think about it. Of course, Stan Lee makes a cameo, and it's actually a pretty fun one, I like to think. Kind of macking on a younger alien girl. It was just, well, woman, I should say. Again, always funny, always good to see him around, because at his age, he's not going to be around for much longer. The three most amazing performances in this movie that have the most heart and emotion are Groot, Rocket, and Drax the Destroyer. There are just moments in this film that you really connect with these characters, which is amazing considering that Rocket is a genetic and cybernetically created animal, and Groot is a giant humanoid plant. What this also does is that it gives us finally, this is actually not much of an excuse, but everyone always says, oh, you can't make a movie with, a leading woman or a person of color in a superhero movie. There's already tons of examples where this has been disproven. Blade got this whole thing moving along. And there are numerous other movies with leading women that have shown that they can succeed. So, after making a movie that stars a humanoid tree and a gun-toting raccoon, there is no longer any other excuse for no movies with a leading person of color or a woman, or white woman, I should say. Seriously, this thing is beating out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Michael Bay's movies, as dumb as they are usually pretty good at raking in the cash. No more excuses, Marvel. Get us our Black Panther movie soon. There are a ton of Easter eggs in this movie. Now, since it's been out for a little while, I've had the opportunity to look on Tumblr and see some of those Easter eggs, so I was prepared to, in certain scenes, look around for them. Specifically, look at the collector's base. When the Guardians of the Galaxy arrive there, you will see numerous Easter eggs there. There's the Cosmo Mutt, which is an obscure Marvel character about a super intelligent old Soviet-era space dog that can talk. There's a Chitauri left in one corner. Apparently, some kind of alien slug creature from one of James Gunn's, the director's, movies earlier is in there. There's also, kind of looks like an evil bald space elf in one of the containers. Keep an eye on that. And one of the after credit scenes, well, the after credit scene shows Howard the Duck. I mean, that's kind of digging into the past there. The 80s past. Don't see his movie. It was terrible. Ronan, the main villain, is shown to be powerful as hell. Ronan gets a hold of an Infinity Stone, which I think it's based on the reality Infinity Stone. And he is just powerful as hell in this movie. The Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as the Nova Corps, unleash just a ton of stuff against him and his ship, and he just keeps coming. This is also really good for when you're making a villain, so that when his defeat at the hands of the bad guys comes around, it's so much well deserved. It's perfect. And they deliver this in spades with Ronan. As I mentioned before, I joked about this being the best Indiana Jones movie set in the Star Wars universe. There is that feeling about it. There's also an undertone, which I felt honestly came from My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, where you see these 5 loners, these 5 people who have lost so much come together for a good noble cause and find the value of friendship. I mean, it is literally their friendship that comes together that defeats Ronin, much in the same way that the main six of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in the first season come together to defeat Nightmare Moon. Yes, I just made that comparison. I can't believe I'm doing that. There's also, you have 5 misfits on a spaceship traveling through the galaxy. Firefly, anyone? This movie surprised me in showing Michael Rooker as one of the, well, villains, but not main villain. And there were rumors that he was going to be in it because he is actually good friends with James Gunn, the director, and he has some really great bits in this. There's a payoff for a weapon of his, which seems to be a telekinetically controlled arrow that where he just takes out an entire force of bad guys, and it's great. I even have a picture of him from Vancouver Expo 2013, which I'll post here, that shows him with this buzz cut, and everyone thought it had to do with his role in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it does. He literally had to get everything but that middle stripe of hair in right here shaved off for the blue makeup and the steel prosthetic on top. If there's one thing that I really love about this movie, and just the general attitude that Marvel Studios has with making their movies, is that there now seems to be no fucks given with regard to creating these superhero stories. DC Comics and Warner Brothers seems to always be doing the Christopher Nolan thing after his success with the Batman trilogy, which is the grounded, make it dark and gritty. And Marvel comes along and makes it bright and shiny and just so wonderful. At one point, the Guardians of the Galaxy visit a mining colony that is set in the beheaded skull of an ancient alien building that's as big as a moon. I just love that. It's fantastic. If they can only put that much effort into, people of color superheroes as well as lady superheroes leading movies, then, we could actually be going somewhere. In this movie, we get to finally see Thanos in all his glory. And there is a deep sense of menace about this guy just sitting in basically a castle that's made of an asteroid field on a floating throne. Wow, I cannot wait to see what else they do with this guy. Vin Diesel as Groot. We are Groot. God damn. I sort of had an idea of what was going to happen with regards to this moment. Because again, it's been out for a couple weeks now. Oh, the spoilers don't spoil this moment. It's well earned when Groot makes his sacrifice to save his friends. And now for the bad stuff. Gamora needed to be saved twice. There are 2 moments in this film where she is saved by Peter Quill, despite the movie saying that she is the ultimate badass assassin that Thanos raised from a young age. No, she does have moments where she shows how badass she is, but I really did not like how she needed to be saved twice by Peter Quill. I honestly would have preferred it had they had moments where they do save all each other, and they do to some extent, and Gamora contributes, like I said before. Every character has a couple fantastic moments of awesome, but I really didn't like it, especially as it led to some kind of awkward romance inserted into the movie between Peter Quill and Gamora. The only thing that was good about it was that Gamora said that she was not falling for any of Peter Quill's, what was that line? Pelvic magic. Of all the villains that come into the Marvel Universe so far through their movies, Ronan had to be rather the most shallow and weakest and least developed of them all. Like I said, they did show him in the possession of the Infinity Stone to be just ultimate force to be reckoned with, but you don't really get a sense of him as you do, well, Loki, or even the Ironmonger from the first Iron Man movie. It's a bit of a shame because this movie did really well on everywhere else, and it is one of the least noticeable flaws of the movie. But still, they could have spent a bit more time to make this character, well, more three-dimensional, aside from being a rawr, I hate old Nova Corps Kree. Nebula, who is sister to Gamora and also another adopted daughter of Thanos, she also comes off as a touch, well, underdeveloped. I won't say weak. I probably shouldn't have said weak for Ronan either. I should say underdeveloped. She, like Gamora, there's just not enough backstory behind them. All we know is that they were made into master assassins by Thanos after some deep personal loss. And which also leads to Nebula betraying Thanos as soon as Ronan gets his hands on the Infinity Stone. She does get an awesome moment where she gets like, I'm out, falls, and we think she's going to fall to her death rather than team up with Gamora, who she really hates, but she lands on a spaceship, gets the F out of there. So that might mean that we will see her in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which the after credits said there will be another. They said Guardians of the Galaxy will return. And finally, I felt there was a few too many crude jokes, references to a-holes and dicks. And in the movie, Peter Quill's middle finger is shown. I just thought the movie could have done without that kind of thing. Overall, this is as good a movie as The Avengers is, and I would easily go see this in the theaters once again. It does have its flaws. I'm annoyed that Gamora was not made out to be as strong as the story said she was, but with just how much fun this movie was and actually showing black people in space, ooh, amazing. I'd honestly say go see this movie. This movie also left us with the fact that there are no excuses left with not having any movies without a leading woman or a person of color. Because you made us care about a CGI tree and a CGI raccoon, both of whom actually had us crying. And if you can do that with computers and voice actors, you can actually do that with real live people. Well, I'm Triple J. That's all I got left to say. Take care.